Kathy Carpenter went a couple of years ago and loved it.
Okay.
I'll bring back photos and do a talk.
Okay, sweet.
Oh, cool.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Do you want to start?
So are we
Go
live?
live.
We might be live. We are live. And I
Woohoo!
got food in my mouth. This is not a good look. Okay. Oh, excuse me, everyone. We set this up so it automatically went live at the time we said we were going to go live, and I've got food in my mouth. Okay, I'm
Good
done
morning,
now.
everyone.
Sorry, everyone. Yeah, good morning, everyone. This is Gardening Tips Live, and my name is Amy Hahn, and we're on the Knoxville area Gardening Tips. I'm a Knox County Master Gardener, and I'm joined by my friends and fellow Master Gardeners, Lee Cheek and Toby Johnson, and we have another person who's planning on joining us. Not sure what's going on with that this morning. I have a suspicion I know where he is, and we'll talk about that after a bit. Because it is a rainy, drizzly morning. Well, more than drizzly. It is a rainy morning in East Tennessee. And not exactly the most pleasant to be out in. But it is good to see you all. And I am trying to figure out where everything should be, like windows and screens and all that sort of stuff. So, Lee Cheek, how have you all been? And we have another person who's planning on joining us. Not sure what's going on with that.
You gotta turn your other video. Your other yep.
Right. And I'm gonna say good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I wonder if I do it here. Nope, it doesn't look that way. Okay. There. Every. There's an extra. Oh. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I'm having one of those mornings. How are you all doing? Okay, and I see Toby and Lee's posts, so I'm in the right place to follow the comments. That is always a little bit of a challenge here.
Yeah.
You know, with juggling screens. Hope you all are doing well, and we're gonna talk gardening and what's happening in January. Some folks have said, why do you even do a show in January? But there really are some things to talk about. You know, one of the big ones I've seen people in the group, in the gardening tips group, talk about is things starting to sprout. We have had some really warm days, and things are sprouting out early.
They are.
Yeah, I saw someone, they took a picture of their hydrangea, and the buds are starting to swell, but they're still tight. And I think if they're still tight, if we get down in the mid-20s, you're fine. But if we get down in the teens, you might have a problem.
Yeah, because tomorrow night it's a low of 22.
Right.
In theory,
22 depends on location. If their buds have swollen on what is it, the mid-spring bloomers, I don't know that I would worry about like forsythia, that's such an early spring bloomer, because it's pretty tolerant of, you know, light frost when its buds are still sort of tight. But a hydrangea that blooms later, you might have issues with. And what'll sort of, the measure of it is going to be how long it stays cold. Because it takes time, you know, for it to affect the center of that bud. So sometimes, you know, if it just goes down to that low temperature for an hour, you're fine. But if it goes down for 5 or 10 hours, you've got a major problem. And when it does that, if it goes down into the teens, when the buds have really swollen on a hydrangea, it is fairly likely that those buds will be frozen off. Yeah, so if anyone has anything to say on that, go ahead.
I just posted a link to frost and freeze and what's the
Okay.
difference.
And for some reason, it's not showing it in the window that I'm looking on.
I just posted it, so
You just posted it.
yeah.
So I want to be in a place where I can see the posts.
You may want to scroll down just a little bit.
Yeah, this one isn't, and I'm afraid to hit refresh
Yeah, I know.
because it's the live producer. So let me go and find the post and get where I can really watch things. And it's
Okay.
easy
Do
to
you,
find.
Lee, I don't see your post either. I see mine.
I see
How
Oh, I
yours.
to
see it
manage
when I
garden
go.
plants.
Yeah, I
There
see
it
it when I
is.
look at the video. Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. See, and I'm not seeing it in the producer thing. So,
I see yours, Toby.
Yeah.
okay, when I minimized it, now I'm seeing you guys post as they have.
Oh, okay.
But when it was expanded, I wasn't seeing it. Okay, Facebook changes things. We're working on figuring it out all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I would add just that um, you know, we're not used to having being in the 60s in January
yeah,
In 70s. Yeah.
and February. This is usually not that time of year.
yeah.
And it's going to be interesting if we get a deep freeze
Mm-hmm.
coming up, and it's hard to tell what's going to happen. We can't really predict.
Right.
So when we're thinking about, we've done presentations here on, season extending and frost
Mm-hmm.
protection. We're going to have to be more vigilant. I
Yeah.
also think for a lot of perennials, I'm noticing, I have some potted
Mm-hmm.
asters and stuff in my front
Mm-hmm.
pots. Just I put in the fall for
Yeah.
extra color, and then I was traveling and it got really dry and
Oh,
they dried
Mm.
up, and I just haven't, I've been traveling and gone so much I
Right.
haven't been able to like take them out. Well, guess what? There's new plant material, new growth coming at the base
Mm-hmm.
of these plants. And so now I'm like, my urge is to tidy it up. Let me go tidy
Uh-huh.
it up. Let me like trim it. Let me like go in there and prune it back so this stuff can like grow back up and I'll have in the springtime. Wrong move. Like
Mm-hmm.
leave it so that you don't have like new cuts that are getting ready to get plus you
Yep.
just to protect, but also like mulch more,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
more leaves, more mulch to cover the crown and the base of those,
Right.
especially perennials. I mean, this isn't
Mm-hmm.
usually a perennial plant. This is like
Yeah.
an annual that you buy, like an ornamental that you buy at the big box store or at the
Mm-hmm.
nursery that you have just to show, have some curb appeal,
Yeah.
temporary color, but it's coming back. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, now I want to nurture this thing.
Yeah. The only problem that can happen is, if it's sprouting and you cover it, and we have really wet weather,
Yeah,
that can rot out. You can have crown rot,
yeah.
which is a big problem. What I've heard folks suggest is just put a little bit of like row cover
Uh-huh.
over that crown when you put the leaves on. So there's a little bit of an air space there.
Oh yeah, that's a smart move, like a light layer.
Yeah, a light layer just to keep the leaves or whatever mulch you're using from getting down into that crown and holding
Hmm.
the moisture right on it.
Yeah.
And
I,
I
I
know, I
yeah,
know, crown rot was a big
I've had
problem. Oh,
I've had
go ahead, Lee.
yeah. I've had stevia in
Mhm,
my garden that's been there 20 years. And it's a perennial in zone 9 and 10.
mhm,
But what I do is I cut it back every year and I put a huge pile of leaves over the top of it,
mhm.
and it comes back every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you sure it's the same plant or is it having babies?
No, it's the same plant.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what it does is it grows out um uh um extra stems and
Uh-huh.
roots. And what I do is I share it with people. Is I dig out one of those
Mhm.
stems and roots and share it with people who then have had it in their yard for
Oh, very nice.
years and years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Do y'all
Judy.
want some? Yeah.
Glad you're with us. So that is what, so it's actually, it's called layering. It's a kind of making new plants, and it sounds like it's layering itself.
Yes.
How you do layering is you take a branch and you bend it to where it's touching the ground and
Mhm.
generally put a rock or something over it. And
Mhm.
some people actually will scar the bottom side to
Right.
encourage root growth, but yours is layering itself.
It is.
And I've had that happen with forsythia, and I've had that happen with a fig bush.
Uh-huh. Oh
And
yeah.
so some plants will do it. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you here. Yeah, it is a rainy day. Was heavy earlier, but it's gotten more gentle now. Um, but yeah, so layering is a really good way to keep plants going. And then you have baby plants to share, and that's a really cool thing. Um, but you know, it is hard sometimes because other people who aren't gardeners don't realize it. Um, I think I'm going to have to send Mr. Brian another link. Let me see if I can get that sent to him. If you all could talk, and I will
Talk
send
amongst
Brian,
yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves.
talk
Talk
amongst
amongst
yourself while
yourself.
I try to get this link to Brian.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
other thing that I think is interesting that, um, so there's early, early budding, there's plants coming back. I am
Lots of
starting to
daffodils coming up.
wonder about our turf grass.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be really interesting to see how turf grass dormancy changes over time. You know, it's right now it's not growing and it's cold,
Yeah.
so
So
the
what, do you know
days are
what kind of turf grass it is?
fescue, just
Fescue. Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's so those are the things I wonder as climate changes and our we have these changes in, because I remember when I moved to Knoxville,
Mhm.
15 years ago, we had a lot, we had actual springtime and actual fall, and they lasted a bit of time. And now it feels like we have two, sometimes
Mhm.
two, but then we have spring in the winter, So it's getting really, and the other thing it makes me think about is as you think about future plant selection, think about what kinds of plants are going to be the most hardy, that can handle heat and dry, but also can handle wet and can handle
Mhm.
fluctuating temperatures. And our zone is still what our zone is, but we all have microclimates, and we're going to need, and it's going to be interesting to see how plants
Mhm.
themselves evolve to handle. Some plants are dying, like uh in our acreage in Washington State, our Western red cedars. We have many dead Western
Mhm.
red cedars on our property, and they
Mm.
are dying. And it's because they're not getting enough water because the
Mhm.
rainfall is not as much as it used to be, or they're not
Yeah.
getting consistent rainfall, I should say.
Mhm.
And so some plants may die off. Other
Right.
plants we know are evolving and changing to manage, so
Mhm.
we've got to continue to research and also pay attention to what's working in our gardens still. So observing what's already there and
Mhm.
what is working and what's not working. And then also as we think about what we're going to install in the future, got to start to really think through like what are the properties of this plant,
Mhm.
so that it, not only does the plant survive, but in order, plants get very, if they're under pressure, they're also more susceptible to pest They're less pest resistant. So it's not only that we want our plants to survive because, it gets enough sun and gets enough water and nutrients, etc., but also we want it to thrive. So we want to make sure that it doesn't, we want to choose plants that aren't going to feel as much pressure because then the pests come. So those are the kinds of, as I think about, managing these changes in our environment, those are the kinds of things that go through my mind.
We don't want to forget about the disease pressure also for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pests and disease. Yes, pests and diseases.
Yeah.
And
after a
we had a
bit, I'm gonna
comment.
have me and Lee have the same timing on when we start to talk.
Great minds.
Yeah.
Brenda's come.
Brian Townsend has joined us, and he's at, are they calling it
It's a pavilion, farmer's market is what they're calling it, but it's
Okay.
at the Pavilion Event Center, just west of Palisippi Highway on,
Hardin Valley,
Valley.
off of Hardin Valley?
Yeah,
Yeah. I've heard it called the Hardin Valley Event Center when I searched online. That's what I saw it called, but there
Okay.
but it's also
It's
called
20
Pavilion Event Center.
right, yeah. It's,
Yeah.
2620 Willow Point Way.
Okay.
I know how to drive here. I don't need the address, but I'm continuously posting the address.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a question, what is it? Brenda asked, thornless blackberry bushes, can they be cut back now? It depends
Actually,
on the variety.
Right.
Most blackberry bushes actually will produce their fruit on the previous year's new canes.
Yes.
There are some newer varieties called primocane blackberries that produce on first year canes, but most of them will produce on second year canes. So if you have older canes that have already produced, okay, so they have the main shoot, then they have side shoots that come out. If they have already produced berries on the side shoots, you can cut those off now. But the ones that haven't, the canes that have not produced yet, you probably do want to thin them to one of the canes that came up last year for every 6 to 8 inches or every foot. Depends how big they get. They've got blackberries of different sizes, the plants now. So the smaller plants you would have closer spacing, and the bigger plants with bigger around canes. Some of the canes can get like that. And then some of the new ones are almost like mini blackberries. You would let that spacing be closer, so I'm not sure what you have.
I thought you pruned out the canes that produced during the previous season.
Okay, so with blackberries, most blackberries don't produce anything that for the first year of the cane.
Right, right.
Now raspberries, most of them do produce at the tip that first year. There are some new blackberry varieties that produce on the tip, and then that second year they'll actually produce their crop on the side, but most of the blackberries just produce that second year crop. Okay. Brenda put some more information here, so let me get to it. Let's see. They don't have any idea about the 3 rows, but they've grown sort of wild everywhere. Yeah, that can happen because cane fruits are very spready. I don't know. They do runners underground and come up where you don't want them to. Okay, so the patch has not been tended for 2 or 3 years. So you probably have some canes that are dead. You can always take dead ones out. They will be gray, and probably the bark is coming off of them. And when you cut
and
them,
also they don't bend well.
right.
They crack So if you have
Mhm.
a new cane is going to bend nicely. And so
Mhm.
you kind of, that's one of the things I found when I'm pruning is
Yeah.
if it bends, I keep. If it
Mhm.
doesn't bend, I prune all the way to the ground.
That's a great rule of thumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if it bends, I prune it between 2 and 3 feet tall because I don't like bending over when I'm picking.
Right. And it'll still do those side branches
Yeah,
with
it
the
will.
fruit on them this year.
Yeah, it will.
And you also, if you have a lot of bendy ones close together, you're going to want to thin those.
Mhm.
What kind of spacing do you usually?
It's just one of my beds that I've dedicated, and I put
Mhm.
an old fence gate in the middle of it to
Mhm.
sort of wrap things over, um, uh, and to keep it, you know,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
To there.
I actually have an old picture in the photos
Mhm.
of where I prune my I don't do blackberries, I do black raspberries,
Oh, there are
but
some
it's the
other
same way.
things in there that have thorns. What type of gloves that you recommend?
Leather.
Leather and thick
Yes.
leather, and I might
And
even wear a
farmers,
second glove under it.
yes, and farmers
Yeah,
defense. Yeah.
yeah. I might even wear a second
Lace.
glove under it, long sleeve shirt or those Farmer's Defense
Yeah.
sleeves.
Yeah.
Um, and for those ones that have thorns, they are probably the Himalayan blackberries. Those are the ones the birds tend to spread the most.
Yeah.
You probably don't want them. And we're having a really good rain right now. So
I,
probably
Almost got 2 inches. Yeah.
I'm
tomorrow
sorry,
is supposed to be a good,
guys. As you guys know, that I'm under a tin roof right here. So
yeah.
if I get to be a little noisy here, just mute me.
Okay, I'll do
Not
that.
punch me, mute me.
Okay, I will do that. And I'm gonna actually make Lee a co-host so she can help with that.
Okay. Deal.
Because it's good to have more than one person. Um, okay, so
What
with,
I would say,
and you should be able to pull those thorny blackberries out,
one of
just
the
pull them
other things,
slow.
if you're, it sort
Mhm.
of depends on what you want, right?
Right.
Do you want to harvest or do you want to reduce or get rid of? And now get rid of
Mhm.
is a huge, like, probably not going to happen for an invasive blackberry.
Yeah.
But what we've been doing out on our property, because we have, our property in Western Washington, we have massive Himalayan black. It
Mhm.
is massive that we will
Mhm.
never get rid of them completely from
Ugh.
our acreage. However, what we've done, and this time of year is really great because, you know, they're not as vigorous. They've died back quite a bit. So we'll get in there and cut everything back. And then we use solarization. And so we'll put plastic down
Mhm.
and we have several spots where we put plastic, we cut all the blackberries down to the bottom, down to the ground. We put plastic on with bricks and whatnot to hold it down and we leave it on for like months over the winter. And there's lots of conversation about whether black plastic or clear plastic. Current research is showing clear plastic may work better.
Hmm.
But you can use either. I know Brian has his opinions on this as well. So if there's areas where it's gone, even if you want to keep some for a harvest, but because blackberries they will have three things that come out from the root ball. They'll
Mhm.
also send their cane and root again. There's like
Mhm.
multiple ways blackberries will propagate and spread. So they're very pernicious.
Yes.
So, but Brian, so if you want to control for and have harvest, you can always sort of get rid of the blackberry and
Mhm.
at least try to and solarize if they've gotten way out of control and then
Yeah.
just not solarize in a particular area. But Brian, I know we've had this conversation before on
Yeah.
Gardening Tips Live.
I had a somewhat heated discussion with an extension agent in South Carolina on this topic. I remember how we got into that right there. But what I have learned from that is black plastic heats up the immediate soil underneath hotter, especially during the summertime when the sun is shining on it right there. But the clear plastic
Mhm.
solarizes deeper.
Mhm.
The heat penetrates deeper than the black plastic. So there's pros and cons with both of those right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And we really dug, my husband's a
Mhm.
scientist. I mean, he's a geologist. And so he dug into
Yes,
this pretty,
right.
and he was looking at research studies of
Good.
solarization on in this case Himalayan blackberry. There's not as much Himalayan blackberry out here, but there's other,
Mhm.
it can get over, even if you have a different type of blackberry or a different type of cane fruit, it can get out of control.
Mhm. Oh, Brenda added some more information. Um, she said, I thought maybe get rid of the ones that are not blackberries and put up a post, run wires to let them climb on. Um, Blackberries don't really climb. They will lean on a wire that you have put up, and that's just for that cane. So you have the roots of the blackberry that are permanent, but the canes are temporary. They'll only last, well,
Yeah.
you want to have your canes for 2 years. And
Yeah.
then when a cane has 2 years old and has fruited on its side shoots, then you want to cut it out.
The
Um,
most
but they don't
effective
climb when it
the
climbs.
most effective way to get rid of is to dig out the root ball, the Medusa head. But it's really hard, especially if the patch is
Mhm.
huge. But you'll
Yeah,
find we had a huge patch and I dug in and got rid of a lot of root balls. And there's
right.
not much, if you keep at it, there's not much coming back.
Yeah, the
But
problem is it sounds like she's got a patch of thornless blackberries
that she
with
wants to
some
eat. And
thorned blackberries coming up in the midst of it.
yeah,
And I would say every time you see one with thorns, put good gloves on and pull it slowly and get as much root out as you can, and that'll help keep it under control. You
yeah.
might not be able to totally get rid of it.
Yeah, because if you start digging in, you might
Yeah,
disturb the other root balls. So you got to be,
right. Now, if it's really wild and you have a lot of tangle of thornless and thorned, um, you can dig up a section and let it root back into it over time and see if you can get more of the roots of that thorned one out.
Yeah.
yeah.
But good luck. Let
I
us
had a,
know how it goes,
I
because
had a
that is
brother-in-law
difficult.
who had
Mhm.
an acre
Mhm.
of thorny blackberries that he wanted to get rid of.
Oh gosh.
And his solution was he first he brought in a digger and then he made a huge pile and
Mhm.
burned it, and it burned for a week.
Oh
Mm.
gosh. Yeah, and you can do that if you want to totally get rid of. You can do something extreme like that.
That's
You
extreme.
want to
Yeah.
totally get rid of them.
Yeah.
But she wants to keep those thornless ones.
Yeah.
That makes it more difficult.
Yeah. Well, she may want to
Yeah.
dig them up and put them in another place.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
could dig up some of
Yeah.
the thornless ones
Yeah.
and move them out. I don't know how big an area you're talking about and
Yeah.
how many of them have thorns.
Yeah.
And you might want to, if you moved out the thornless, then you could solarize that place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, we've got a little bit of a slideshow today. Do we want to go to that?
Sure.
Okay.
That was
I'm
that
going
was.
to
I
start with,
appreciate Brenda bringing up the topic.
yes,
That was lovely. Thank you, Brenda.
yes, that's a good topic to talk about. And um, there is a rule of thumb with pruning. And honestly, right now, you don't want to do a whole lot of pruning or cleaning up. The dead plant material over top of your plant that's sprouting underneath will protect it. The other thing that's happening is many plants die back a certain amount during the winter called winter kill. And if you prune them now, and we have some really cold weather. If you prune them to the height you want them to be in the spring now, and we have some harsh weather, which we're fairly likely to have, it will winter kill back further, and you'll end up with less of a plant than you want. Where if you left that extra plant material there, it would winter kill some, but then you would be able to prune it to the size you want it to be. Okay, slideshow. Okay, I saw this strange thing at what is it, Bob Leonard Park in Farragut. And so isn't that a strange looking thing? And some of them were knocked over, and I looked it up, and that is actually a mosquito breeding trap.
How
So they
tall
are,
was it, Amy?
but
How tall was it?
it's like the size of maybe a 3-gallon pot.
Okay.
So that's about the size of it. And I was like, and the ones that were knocked over looked like someone had knocked over a planter, and they're plastic. But apparently you put water in them, and you put BTI or another thing that just targets water breeding flies like mosquitoes. And so, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So that is one way of controlling mosquitoes, where you convince the female mosquitoes to lay their eggs in a place where their larvae won't survive. So it keeps the population of mosquitoes very low, which is, I think it's really cool. And it's actually a strategy I've used at my house. I generally have at least, I have a water lily bucket, and then I have a big trough next to my compost, and I treat those with mosquito dunks once a month through the growing season, or as soon as I see any wigglers in them, I will treat them. And that I really don't have a mosquito problem in my yard. And so that's been really helpful. And so it is one of the strategies for controlling mosquitoes. And then I try to dump any other standing water. So I only have those two places. Okay, let's see. That's not going to the next picture. There we go. Okay, this is the herb spiral at UT Gardens. They've actually put a really nice path around it. And then this empty dirt here is going to be, I think they're going to be putting like dyeing herbs and some other types of herbs around that area. And it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, they planted some lavender.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's going to be some additional herbal stuff. Most of the dead that you're seeing is actually roselle hibiscus, which is what folks use to make red zinger teas or hibiscus tea. And so that was a really interesting growing project this year in the herbal space.
And you kept on and giving me pieces to eat.
Yes, and
and they were so tasty.
they're really tasty. It's real lemony and bright. I did find out if you've ever grown roselle hibiscus, it is day length sensitive for when it flowers, most of varieties. And so this year I'm going to buy a variety that's not day length sensitive because it didn't even start making buds until fall. So I'm buying a variety that's not day length sensitive, and I should have buds starting 90 days after it's planted. So I'll get more. One of my favorite hibiscus tea is one of my favorite teas, and I like to grow my own teas, herbal teas, that is. Now we were talking about pests. This is something I've seen around in different places. It's a fire ant mound. And when the weather is cold or wet, you really can't treat for it. I've had good success with mound treatments. Excuse me. And I know the brand I've used says to sprinkle 3 tablespoons around it when they're active. They're not going to be active when the weather is really cold, but if we have any of these 60-degree days, you could put them out and they will probably be actively foraging, and we'll take that into their nest, and it should kill the mound. But
Did you notice, Miss Amy, on the instructions right there, said to put the 3 tablespoons around the mound.
Right.
There's a reason. There's a reason for not putting it on top.
Oh, what is it?
Disturbing them. You have different worker ants for different jobs. And the mound right there. And some of these fire ants, if the mound is disturbed, they I don't know if I want to call them soldiers, but guard, policing, whatever. They come out looking where the disturbance is coming from, and they want to attack. They're not there to forage.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So
Okay.
if you sprinkle it around there, you have your workers that are coming out, and they will pick up the bait and take it back down, and that's what we want. We don't want
Right.
to disturb them. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. But I am very selective about the pesticides I use in my yard, and that is one that I have not found a substitute for.
Okay.
Though I did.
Got your stack of eggs.
Wait, yeah, let's mute Brian right quick because he's talking to folks at the market. So Brian, you'll have to unmute yourself when you're ready to talk. I did find I did have fire ants in my vegetable garden one year. When I uncovered it, I had not solarized, I had put black material over it, and that's called occultation, but similar to solarization. But the fire ants had built a mound under that black material, and I got a fire ant mound treatment that was a spinosad based, which is an organic compound that breaks down more quickly. And it is approved for vegetable garden use. So I used that year in that area because I didn't want to use something more toxic in my vegetable garden. Okay, and this is just an interesting bug. My daughter found this. And if you can look at it close, it sort of looks like an ant with a big backside, but it is actually a black oil beetle, which is in the blister beetle family. And so just thought that was an interesting bug. I have seen adult blister beetles out in my yard. I think this might not be an adult because it's just got partial wings. So it might be, juvenile form, but it's interesting. The thing about the blister beetles is you don't want to pick up and handle them. They can exude a chemical that will give you a chemical burn, which is not pleasant. I've never experienced that, but it is possible. It's just a cool bug. Okay, now it's Lee's turn.
So what are we growing this winter? Greens. And this was at Concord United Methodist Community Garden. And anyway, so they're growing kale, and they're growing collards, and they're growing daikon radishes. And they're doing very well, even in some of our terrible weather.
Oops.
Yeah.
Lovely. Oh, this was another picture I had, and Brian will recognize this. You can see the pink growth. You can see this is on a rose bush. So some pink growth, lots of branching. Look at all the thorns, crazy thorns, not even normal thorns. So this branch of this plant is affected by rosette disease.
Right.
And you can really see it when the plant doesn't have any leaves on it, or not very many leaves. I will admit I didn't cut the whole plant out. I didn't take the whole plant out. I cut that branch down to the base, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't start showing up on the rest of the plant or the rest of the roses in that area.
Can I mention something about that right there?
Yes.
I care about these things right here. Part of the problem people do not realize is when a Europhorite mine, this is a microscopic size of a dust particle, it has no wings, has no eyes, it floats around in the air, and if it lands on a rose bush, which is the only host plant that it can survive on. So it's very specific right there. What happens is this Europhorite mine will crawl into the crotch of a new leaflet where the tissue is soft, and they will pierce that, and they will start sucking on the plant juice. When they suck on the plant juice, they release a saliva that keeps the plant juice moving instead of self-sealing. Okay, what happens at this point right here, that saliva will travel into the vascular system of the rose bush, and it will travel down to the root system, and then turn around and come back up. It could come back up in the same cane structure, or it can come up in another area right there. This is why most research will tell you to eradicate the whole thing. Do not try to prune it out because the advance of this infection is also in the unseen areas in the root system. And I'm sorry to bring such devastating information on there right there. But any mite that comes and feeds off of that infected rose bush will then turn around and infect another rose bush.
Well, I'm hoping that doesn't happen because I
Okay.
could not bear to tell the 90-plus-year-old owner of this rose bush that was happening.
I
Yeah.
understand. This is for knowledge base, primarily right here. As far as getting hopes up and stuff like this right here. But I will tell you myself, I have a David Austin rose within my little garden patch in the front of my apartment, and I got rose rosette disease. Okay, I pruned it out, I pulled it all out right there. I thought I got everything, and about a year or so later, I saw this cane coming up through the to the ground. It's in a container, insulated container, and good sakes, it's starting to rain hard. I'm sorry for yelling right here. Anyway, so I was watching this little cane. Okay, I recognized the rose leaves on there, and I said, goodness sakes, I wonder what's happening. I thought that this rose bush was on its own root system, and I was excited because it's very fragrant rose bush. Anyway, it was not. It was part of the root system, which is a Dr. Huey. At least in this case, it is right here. So I've let it grow. So I've got a monster climbing rose bush in a place where that David Austin was right there, but there's no infection.
Interesting. So it didn't cross the graft.
Right.
Okay. And this is probably a grafted rose bush.
Most likely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'll watch it over the next few years, and I'm hoping she has many more years in her own house, but I'm not going to give that kind of news to someone with one cane affected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's sentimental value in that, and I respect that tremendously.
Yeah. I did notice Toby posted the home fruit and vegetable calendar, and that is the 2026 version. That is a great resource, and I encourage everyone who's a fruit and vegetable grower, and actually everyone, to go look at that.
Yes, yes.
Has a lot of good gardening and horticulture information even if you aren't a vegetable grower. Okay, now I think this is back to Lee's pictures. Sorry
Yeah,
about
it,
that
it
one.
is. Yeah. So this is one of my asters that is like Toby said earlier. It is getting good green stuff coming out. Yeah. But I'm not cutting it back yet because I want to protect it from the 20-degree weather that's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Then we need to let people know, even dead material on top of our plants help provide a canopy
They do.
for the growing part or the surviving part of the crown
Mhm.
right
Yes.
there. So this
Yeah.
could be a survival technique.
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly.
There's also sometimes seeds and things that wildlife will eat.
Correct. Yes.
Mhm.
So there's lots of lovely
Yeah.
seeds that are up at the top. Yes, the
It also
bird.
provides canes for native bees.
Yes, it does. Well, you need to cut it off though in order for that to happen. It needs
Well,
to
they'll
be
burrow into the
years.
side of some of them and
Oh,
get in
okay.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've definitely seen that.
I go to Whataburger for my seeds.
Oh,
Wait, did they give away these seeds?
oh,
Wait,
yeah.
does Whataburger give out seeds like this? Let's see. Let me get there.
Donut seeds.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, I'm gonna go on to the next slide.
Oh yeah, my and my chamomile is being happy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And this is red vein sorrel, which is a perennial
Mhm.
green, which yep.
Oh.
And then I've just planted some kale and collard because my kale and collard got killed off by one of the freezes. And then the next slide shows what I'm covering them up with
Oh,
when it
nice.
stops raining. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. To give
Now,
it a little,
what about if we
it's
have
20 tomorrow.
what about if we have a 60-degree day?
Oh, then I'm going to take it off again where it is right now. Yeah.
Yep.
Friend of a buddy of mine.
Yeah. And this is my
Big tall Roger did.
my one of my compost bins that is it's a bed that I plant in.
Mhm.
I plant my tomatoes, but in the winter I make a big compost bin out of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then I have lots of daffodils that are coming up. I've
Mhm.
actually been digging them up and
Mhm.
putting them in other areas because they're
Yeah.
really close together.
Now,
Yeah.
do folks have to worry about it, their daffodils, if they're coming up now?
No, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
One person in the Facebook page talked about that they were actually blooming.
Yeah. And if they are blooming and we have temperatures getting down into the 20s, I would cut those flowers off and just bring them in.
Yes.
Because the plant is fine, the leaves are fine, and even the closed buds are fine. But when they're open, they're going to frost and just not be pretty anymore.
But they're pretty in a vase.
Pretty in a vase, yes.
And then this is my finished compost from last year.
Ooh, nice.
And so I've been digging it up and putting it
Mhm.
around the garden. And a parsley that I planted last year is happy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that seems to be the end of it.
It is.
Yay. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see. So, what is it? We've talked about a few things we definitely wanted to talk about. Another thing that's happening is if you have ordered seeds online, you're probably starting to get these kind of things. You know, I've gotten several seed catalogs are starting to come in. So that's a good reminder to do an inventory of what seeds you have and keep an eye out because as we move into spring, there's several different organizations that do seed swaps. Stanley's does one, Beardsley Farm, Imes Nature Center, all do seed swaps in the spring. And
And
we'll try to make sure the dates get into our group calendar.
and some libraries.
And some of the libraries.
So out in
Yeah.
Blount County, the Blount County libraries, they do a big swap
Mhm.
every, I think it's February. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great time to do it. Yeah, because as gardeners, we rarely use a whole seed packet in a season. Or like for me with tomatoes, I like tomatoes that are very meaty and umami rich. I don't and have that old tomato flavor. I don't really enjoy the really sweet tomatoes, but some people love them. So if I grow a tomato and it's really sweet, I'll pass those seeds on because it's just not what I want in a tomato. But it's not that the tomato's bad, it's just my personal preference. So there are seed swaps, there are ways to connect with those, but it is also a time to go through your seed inventory and see what you've got and think about what varieties you enjoyed the previous year. She loves being able to swap and grow a number of varieties. Yeah, that's really fun. So I enjoy it. I have, and as far as storing seed, I have different containers. Let me pull this out. So this is one of my seed containers. I have several of them, but these are for the small seeding crops. And you can see inside, and each clip is a different type of vegetable. So what is it? This is the beetroot family. So this is all my spinaches and beets and things like that. So I just keep them together and so I can really quickly look and see what I have. This is all my lettuces. And you can't really see that good, but I put a little label on top. I'm not sure you can read that, but it says lettuce. And that's how I store my seeds. One thing I do keep in here is this is a silica gel packet because I want to keep the humidity low. And that helps my seeds last longer.
Yeah, I just grab them for anything that ever gets delivered to my house that has silica.
Mhm.
I just like have a pile of them going, a little bin of them going,
Yep.
and I'll toss them in with seeds.
Yeah. And what is it? Every so often, I'll look up the instructions for drying out silica gel in the microwave, and I'll run them through a cycle of that. I never remember the instructions. I always have to look them up. But so that's one of the things because humidity, light, and heat are the enemies of seeds. But most seeds will last many years if you keep them away from light, heat, and humidity.
And some thousands of years.
Yeah, some have lasted thousands of years.
Yeah.
Though I think with those, they have to use special techniques to get them
Yeah,
to sprout.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just really, and seeds are really cool.
They
Yeah,
are cool.
Baker heirloom seeds.
Yeah, Baker Creek is a good
Baker
source.
Creek. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Though I did talk to a commercial grower and they didn't like Baker Creek because their seeds do tend to have some genetic variety in them. Because
Oh,
heirlooms do usually have some genetic variety and they wanted a very consistent crop for
true. Yeah.
what they were selling. And
Yeah.
I understand
I
that.
grew one of their old watermelons
Oh, cool.
or melons. It wasn't a
Mhm.
watermelon. And it was this pretty pink inside, and it was
Oh,
so
nice.
sweet and lovely. But it was one of the Native American
Mm-hmm.
crops.
Yeah. And there are some specialty seed companies that are really interesting. There's one that if I'm looking for lettuces, and if you really want to experiment with lettuces, um, oh gosh, what is it called? Now I'm going blank. Don't you love that? Let me see if I can find it.
You said you had some arugula growing in your garden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lettuce seed. Okay, what is the place called? If I could, Frank Morton, that's his name, Wild Garden Seeds.
Ooh.
And he's in Oregon, but he's been a lettuce breeder. And like all his lettuces, they have very detailed descriptions. And many of his lettuces are commercially available. But lettuce is cool because it's really easy to save seed from.
You want to put that link in the comments?
Yeah, I'll put the, if I could
I
get
just
it.
did.
Oh, you got
Did
it.
you? Oh, good job.
Thank you.
I like Southern Exposure because their seed prices are, first of all, they're good for our area, our
Mhm.
climate, but also they're reasonably priced.
Brian wants us. He's got his attention. Or
Did
maybe
Brian
he's
want to
waving
say
something.
something? Or was he
Brian?
talking to other? I think he was trying to get someone else's attention.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard when you're at a market, and trying to talk to. Oh, Brian's coming in. Nope, it didn't unmute. There you
I
go.
was the owner of the market here was talking to me about wanting to put a vegetable patch back here in the back. So I had to talk to him, and this is one of the
Oh.
other come by to say howdy.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know that I was on the program.
Right. It is hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
One of the things that I talked about last night on our welcome post with this rain event right here, is I'm telling people, do not depend on the weather service of any kind. I don't care what it is, where they're from, even if they're 5 blocks away from you right here. Do not depend on them to tell you how much rain you got in your garden or your lawn or your landscape. Okay. Just get a rain gauge. You can get a very simple one. Sometimes some services will give these away. But you can get a very simple rain gauge. So you mount it up in an open area right here. So you know how much rain you got for that right there. And that tells you whether you need the water or not.
You want to say hi to Tina? She's finally caught us all live.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And what is it? One of the seed companies I've ordered, I went down a cucumber rabbit hole one year, and there's a place, I've got the link for it ready, but it's called the Cucumber Shop. And he's got tons of cucumbers, and he's got good descriptions on them. So there's the link to that if you're interested in going down the cucumber rabbit hole. But there are just so many different seed companies out there. If you're interested in ethnically appropriate seeds, there's a company called True Love Seeds, and I'll look up the link. And they have some of the most interesting varieties out there, in my opinion. They're not always the best as far as productivity, but flavor-wise, they're going to be really interesting. Toby beat me to it on True Love Seed.
I got you, Amy. Don't worry, I got you.
No. Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
Yeah.
I like Seed Savers Exchange. I like Southern Exposure. Now, if you want like really good tools about planting, Johnny Seeds has their website is amazing for like planning, succession planting, etc.
And if you're looking for timings for the Knoxville area, that fruit and vegetable calendar has some really good references. If you go to I think it's the second page in, I don't have a copy of it with me right now. But it's got a page where there's a whole bunch of links to different publications if you're looking at the online version. And there's just so much in those. And I will tell you, I found True Love Seeds because they did a podcast. And
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just, remember back during the pandemic when there was a shortage on seeds?
Yeah.
And sometimes seeds, like I remember I ordered, I think it was from Southern Exposure, I ordered garlic seeds once, and
Mhm.
their garlic harvest was horrible. And it
Oh
was like,
no.
nope, nobody gets garlic seeds, or very few people get garlic seeds this year. So
Oh, that was
sometimes
sad.
there's a challenge with
Mhm.
seeds. They're not always available. And then stuff that's really popular sometimes sells out.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes they'll have a crop failure,
Yep,
and then
exactly.
the seed they need to keep what little seed they have so they can grow seed the next year.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Most of them will hold back some seed from the previous year as insurance,
Yep.
because everyone knows occasionally there's a crop failure. Um, what is it? If you've been watching us for a while, I usually do garlic. And this has been a challenging year health-wise for me. And I got a few heads of garlic planted in some containers, and that's all the garlic I have planted this year. So that is unusual for me. I'd usually be showing pictures of my garlic beds,
Yeah.
and they're up a little bit now.
Yeah.
Tina said she's thinking about building a living fence for privacy,
Oh, cool.
a trellis, and
Mhm.
encourage pollinators. Do we
Mhm.
have any suggestions? It's a full sun spot.
A full sunspot. I would suggest for starting it, I would do a mix of perennials and annuals. So the annuals would come on quickly and flower and give you that privacy, the vining annuals. But I would also do some perennials for longer term. So just a mixture. One question would be, how robust a trellis are you going to build? Because if you are going to build a pretty robust trellis, coral honeysuckle is a beautiful one. Also crossvine, those are perennials, but they take a little bit to get established.
Mhm.
And so you can plant some grape hyacinth bean, purple hyacinth bean, or some
But
of
you
the
also
other.
think, do you want just privacy in the summer, or do you
Right.
want privacy all year round?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some lovely summer, things,
Right.
natives like world sunflowers and things like that that grow 10
Mm-hmm.
feet tall,
Yeah, and
and
how
they come
deep is
back and they
space?
come back every year. But you'll just have canes in the winter, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll want to sort of think about how deep your space is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have 5 feet to work with, or do you only have like 1 or 2 feet to work with for the fencing? And that'll depend on how much perennial stuff growing up in front you can have versus just vining things.
And how high do you want it?
Mm-hmm. How high do you want it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it? One thing you can do is you can call our Ask a Master Gardener phone line, and we'll have someone get you more detailed information. And so the number for that, I'm going to put that in here, is 865 215. I should have this memorized, but I don't, because we don't memorize phone numbers anymore, do we? 3554. And so that's the Ask a Master Gardener phone line, and I'm going to put the email address to that too. So if you have a more detailed question, you can ask it there. I've got to type, and then I think we're going to wrap up things for today. Let's
Yeah.
see.
When will
I
we
think
be back, Amy? February, the second week in February?
Yeah, I think we are going to fully discuss it after we stop the live show, but we are considering going to second and fourth Saturdays
Okay.
for our show, given the number of events we have through the year, and just to make life, what is it, a little bit easier for the team, but you guys will still know when and where to find us. Oh, she already has a coral honeysuckle. Okay. Oh, living fence done with willows. You can also do one with forsythia. And that's, if you have a forsythia, you can literally cut the branches and put them into the ground and just keep that area watered. And there's a fair chance those will root. Forsythia roots very easily. Or if you know someone with a willow, not a I don't think it's a weeping willow, but there are bushing like pussy willow. I don't know the varieties of that because it's something I've seen pictures of people doing, but I haven't done it myself or researched it. But that is an interesting thing to do. And
Have you all seen those fences in England where they weave the
weave or the knitted ones.
yeah, they're like
Oh, those are so cool.
woven.
Yeah.
They cut the um trunk down to like a tiny amount and they bend it over and then they weave them together. It is, and
Oh,
there's all
cool.
different styles regionally.
Mhm.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
I bet that's like willows or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
something that's really flexible.
Yeah.
But we are at 10:06 and it's time to end.
Yes, it
It's been
is.
wonderful being with you all and have a great week in your gardens. Great time for composting and working on your compost systems and sort of thinking when the weather's bad like this, sitting inside and sort of thinking about next year, next season, not
Dreaming
next
and
Reading
year.
those
drawing.
seed catalogs, yeah.
Seed catalogs and check your seed inventory. Maybe do some germination testing. Just all
Sharpen your
stuff like that.
tools.
Sharpen
Sharpen
tools.
and clean tools, yeah.
So have a great week, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you the second week in February. Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye, y'all.